Hello everyone, Ellen Woodbridge here, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator on the Central Coast of New South Wales in Australia. I would like to welcome you to the Christmas Stampathon 2023 September Challenge. We are on the downhill slide getting our Christmas cards ready to send out a little bit earlier than you may have before with the Christmas Stampathon challenge. So our September challenge is called Light It Up. We want you to make multiple Christmas cards, bringing light to your card with candles, Christmas lights, or a star in the night sky. So we drew inspiration directly from our mini catalogue, which is the September to December, which has some of those elements in it. For my card, I have decided a star in the night sky. So I have used the Joy to You stamp set. I have used the Stars at Night hybrid embossing folder, and it comes with the dies, so I'll show you how we're using that. And to cut out our sentiment, we are using the Nested Essentials dies. So I'm just going to grab out what I will need off these sheets, so then we're not fumbling around later trying to find all our bits and pieces. Now, the designer series papers that I have included in my card are the Oxide Copper Specialty Designer Series paper and the Oh Holy Night Designer Series paper as well. So these products, except for the Nested Essentials, are available in the mini catalogue. So the embellishments that I've used to finish off my card are the Tinsel 4-pack gems. And I've actually used Blueberry Bushel. There is no actual blueberry bushel in this designer series paper, but the colour works perfectly because there are so many different blues in there. So let's get started. What I thought we would start with is cutting out our copper oxide paper. So when I first did it, I used a full 6x6 piece of paper to see what I could do. So what I'm probably going to do is cut this down, use it on a card, because I still have a fantastic stars in the background of this paper. So I'm going to pop this over here. I'm going to line everything up. So they're going, this is a 3D embossing folder. Yes, it is, but it is something special because this die actually coordinates with this image, and you can die cut and emboss in one pass of your machine. So I'm using a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now I will show you on this side, you can see some cut marks in the embossing folder. I can tell you now, when I use this embossing folder as an embossing folder, when I'm not cutting, I get 0 marks. So there are no marks on the embossing folder at all from where that cut is. So I'm going to just pop that to the side, bring in our machine. Now currently it has the cutting plates on it, and we don't need those because we're embossing. So I'll slide those out. We will use those a little later for our sentiment. But I need our number 4 plate. So this is, and it's number 4, use it with 3D embossing folders. So I'm going to put in fold first, pop the lid on, or the plate. I call it a lid, I don't know why. And we're just going to crank that through. Now there is no extra pressure. I say that and it cranks out, but that's because the embossing folder isn't, I have to put it in straight on because it is a 6-inch square. embossing folder. Now, remind me later, I have dropped my embellishments on the floor and we will need them. Okay, so just pop these to the side and you can see here that we have cut out our pieces. So we have 3 stars all done. We could use this piece. We could punch out a shape and use the stars for something else. I haven't decided what I'm using my extra pieces for. So I should show you as well. I have made 3 cards so far and we are making the 4th together. Now I am going to do a little bit more to these stars, but not right now. So I'm going to pop these stars in a dish so they don't get lost on my desk or they don't fall on the floor. If I can grab them off, my word. So remember, we've got them in the dish. I am just going to pop this back here and just close it just for storage use and pop it over here. Next, I think we shall take my scrap of paper. Now, we are using the stamp set. So I bought this Joy to Use stamp set because I thought it was so incredibly versatile. It has 3 really nice sized sentiments and the sentiments go to a lot of Christmas styles that we're making, and the font, I like the lighter font down to a very bold font. It's just something I haven't had in my collection, so I've given this a really good ink up and we're going to pop this down. Now I'm going to hold this here for a few seconds more than I normally would because of this really bold bottom of the image. We want that ink to transfer beautifully, which that actually has. Yeehaw. I'm going to close my ink pad because I don't require this ink pad anymore. And
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
No. Siri is interrupting us again as usual. So I'm going to take my Nested Essentials die and we are going to pop that through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It was just made for it. Absolutely perfect. So bring in our machine again and we are going to grab our cutting plate. So we need plate 1, we need plate 2 and 2 plate 3s. So that is our sandwich for die cutting. So I'm going to line that up as best as I can and pop this in straight down and hold it. And there we go. That is all through. Pop our die where I can find it for later. Now, I don't think this wants to pop off our plate, but it now has. So I'm just going to pop these plates back in and pop this on the floor out of the way. So we are next going to get on to our treatment of our stars. I'm pretty happy with that. It's not perfectly straight, but it's close enough. So we will need a piece of scratch paper. This is a very old one that I use all the time. I'm going to use one of our blending brushes and I'm going to use this is called Whisper White ink. I have a very old ink pad, but it is now just called white ink. So what I have done, I have not re-inked this. If I was actually stamping, I would give this ink pad a re-ink and make sure it's really nice and juicy. Now, what I have done and what we are going to do together is just highlight a little bit of our embossing because I will show you them side by side, and you will see, hopefully see the difference that just by highlighting it with a little bit of white ink, we just let that embossing pop. So I'm going to tap, tap, tap. I am actually going to tap off so you can see how much ink tapped off there, and we're going to go in quite lightly just in the middle. So that one's done. Now this ink can take a little bit of time to dry, but this one inking should get all of our stars done. The little bit of ink goes a really long way. I don't want to cover the whole star because I still want that beautiful copper oxide or the to shine through. Okay, so we're finished with our white ink as well, and we can pop our blending brush away and our extra ink pad. So now that all our elements are done, we can start actually putting our card together. So this is the design that I chose, a nice starry sky. I did use an alternate starry sky as well for this card. I've yet to embellish these cards, but the bulk of them are made. So this was a 6-inch piece, which is a little bit longer than what we actually need. So with this in mind, I didn't check my glue before I started. So let's hope and pray that our glue is nicely working, which it is not. We're just going to tease out any little dry glue that is there, and of course we are going to need our pin. So I try not to squeeze too much and just grab a pin, and I have grabbed a good size blockage there. So I'm just going to put that in my silicone receptacle. I am just going to try on the back of my hand, and that is coming out beautifully without a lot of without a big avalanche of glue. I find if you get a lot of back pressure, you can have a huge avalanche of glue. So sometimes it is good just to wait and see how your glue goes, and see if using a little pin, this is just, the pins I use are just simple pins that I buy on special at Aldi. They're not stainless steel because it doesn't live in the lid. Now, just going to push this down against the edge of the table to get this nice and flat across the bottom. So that's good. I'm going to leave the excess at the top. Now, today I have something a little bit different. I have a top opening card, so we want to make sure that we don't make a backwards upside down bottom folding card. So adding a bit more glue here, and we're going to be lining everything up to the bottom, and then we're going to trim the top. So this designer series paper is a little more Misty Moonlight, which we use to stamp, but I made the card base Night of Navy because it just gives a beautiful contrast. Now I'm hoping that I have enough dimensionals here. It doesn't matter, I've got the outside. It's just I'm quite close to finishing these off. So we're just going to add some to the bottom here. This will allow the wet glue that we just used to give us a lot of wiggle time to cure. Now, if you haven't played with the Christmas Stampathon before, we are a group over on Facebook. I will have the link below in the description box. So if you are watching and under the title of this video, there will be a little button that says more. Press that more and you will see the link in there. What do I need? Because this is open in here, I'm just going to, oh, this doesn't quite work as well as my hook. Take your pick tool that I am going to grab now. The crafter's tip with the hook. You can use the straight one, but I am actually used to using this hook. And it works for me. If you want to see some unconventional use of tools, I don't know if I've shared the video yet here on YouTube, because I am filming this a little bit early, so I'm not quite sure. But I did a little Facebook Live the other night and sharing how I use some of my tools unconventionally to help me and my peripheral neuropathy that I have in my hands. Now still do need my glue. Now I'm just going to switch to my big handled scissors, because these help me just snip off any excess here just perfectly. Okay, perfect. Done. Pop that off to the side. Okay, now that that excess is gone, I can apply, and I start with my biggest star in the middle. When I was designing this, I thought, am I going to use just one star, or am I going to use two? And the answer was no and no, because one star looks lovely. If you want it like really, really simple, you can have just one star. But for me, I wanted a little bit more. Okay, so I have it just over the sentiment here, just to create some connection. So I'm just going to put some glue here in the middle. That's the only place I'm adding glue, and I'm just going to slide this under here. Now I do want this connected down here, and I do want it also hanging across the edge of the designer series paper. So it just makes it, even though we're using a smaller piece, I wish this piece would go away. Thank you. Just creates a sense of connection, and we're making these flat. So the middle star can be the star of the show. All puns intended there. Now this one is going to hang over just a bit, and we can snip off any excess that we want. So I've done that. I am now going to put my lid on my glue and retrieve my embellishments off the floor. See, you remembered. Thank you so much for reminding me. Okay, as I roll backwards on my chair halfway across the room. So for my embellishments, just a little tip, I like to write the colours here. The colours just aren't printed on here. So I like to just add that little piece of information, because it makes it much easier for me when I'm flicking through to know what is meant to coordinate with what. It doesn't mean it's always going to be correct, and that's okay. Now, there we go. Just going to use a big one here, and that is our card done. I know I can choose to embellish my other two cards or leave them as is. I would love to know, would you prefer embellished or non-embellished? Please tell me in the comments below. Let's quickly go through what we have used. We've got the Joy to Use stamp set. We have the Nested Essentials dies, and as we go along here, I can't pick it up. And I have this pin stuck to my finger now. I'm going to put the dies away so then we don't lose them. This pin is thoroughly stuck to me. There we go. So as well as the Nested Essentials, we have used the Stars at Night dies and embossing folders. So this is the hybrid. So we cut and embossed at exactly the same time there. We also used the Designer Series paper, which is the Oh Holy Night and the oxide copper, or oxidized copper. Apparently I can't speak today. The oxidized copper. You can use gold, you could use silver, you can use whatever metallic you want. I just thought the copper was something a little bit different. And of course we used the tinsel gems, and this is the 4-pack. We also have a 3-pack, which is why we need to make the difference that this is the 4-pack. I cannot wait to see your Light It Up projects this month. You can make multiple cards. I've chosen to make 4. You can make 2. You can make 22. Totally up to you. But please be sure to share them in our group. And by sharing them in the group, you share them under, we will have a post about the challenge, and you post in the comments under that challenge. We do have another couple of people that are sharing projects in videos and under that post for your inspiration. So I hope that helps. I look forward to seeing you next month for our October challenge. Have a great month. Bye.